All right, so if you are relying on an offer with a guarantee to get clients, then your marketing agency is a ticking time bomb. Now you might be thinking, Liam, are you saying Alex Mosey's wrong? Is Cole Gordon wrong? They've made way more money than you. How can you be right and they be wrong? And I'm not saying that you should never use guarantees or that they don't have a place in an agency offer, but I'm saying the way that most agencies actually implement them in their offers and in their ads is completely wrong. After spending 7 years in the agency game, making over $3 million from my lead gen agency and working one-on-one with over 300 agency owners, I've seen that we should only really use guarantees to scale brand new offers and when you're in the early stages, but not as a long-term strategy of client acquisition whatsoever. If you want to have an agency and build a real business that stands the test of time, then you need to transition into a branding strategy and focus more on creating marketing assets that build status instead of having to be on the hamster wheel of creating new offers and guarantee structures every 2 seconds. So let me give you a little bit of my experience from using guarantees to scale my agency. So I actually owe a lot of my personal success to running a guarantee-based offer. The very first guarantee that I ever ran was for the real estate niche. That's the niche that I scaled my agency in. And I was guaranteeing that real estate agents would acquire at least one new listing in a 90-day time frame if they partnered to work with our marketing agency. And at the time, this worked quite well because I was one of the first marketing agencies to run an offer like this in Australia. People were already doing this in the US, but I was quite early to do it in Oz. And once I launched the offer on paid ads, I'd been hovering around 25K a month for almost 18 months. And then in just under 3 months, I scaled from 25K a month to over 83K a month. And this looked good on paper. We had some months where we'd bring in 16 new clients in a single month. I was making more money than ever. Cash was coming in. The business was really healthy. But once the dust settled, new problems arose that we didn't foresee. There is a trade-off with running guarantee-based offers, which I think is a huge blind spot that most agency owners don't notice until it's too late. And this is often a big blind spot for many, many agency owners. So the first blind spot is that guarantee offers attract a particular type of clients. If you're running an offer where you're making this crazy claim and you're saying, for example, in the real estate niche, we'll help you get 3 listings in this time frame where you don't pay, plus we'll give you your money back, plus we'll do X, Y, Z, then automatically you're attracting a certain type of person that requires a significant risk reversal in order to make a decision in the first place. And someone that needs such a significant risk reversal in order to make a decision, that is usually indicative of financial instability. Because if someone had their shit together and they had solid foundations in their business, then they know that making investments to grow their business isn't guaranteed. That's how they got there in the first place. And the type of clients that need the guarantees are often the trickiest to get results for because they already don't have solid foundations. That a lot of the time they're short for cash and they really need the system to work. And that's usually an underlying red flag that there's already something going wrong in their business, which means that they're going to be more difficult to get results for. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot in 2 ways. And this showed up for us about like 2 months after having a big influx of clients after running our guarantee offer, where we had a ton of clients come in, but then we had a ton of headaches on the back end. We had clients that were a nightmare to work with, which affected my enjoyment towards the business, which affected my team's morale. We had clients that we had to give refunds to, and there was a lot of messy, stressful situations. Yes, it was still a massive net positive in terms of cash and growth in the business, but there was a lot of headaches that came with it. Now, I was very lucky to be one of the first agencies to run a guarantee offer like this in my market, in my niche, but now the environment has changed a lot, and there's a significant amount more competition in a lot of the popular niches. And so another big downside and blind spot is that if you're running generic offer-based guarantee ads, then your creatives in your funnel is going to have a very short life cycle in the market. It might work really well for 2 to 3 months, but then everything is going to tank and it's going to be really hard to keep things profitable because you're just going to fade away into the noise of everyone else doing the same thing. And I started to notice this for myself, even when I was doing significant innovations to our core unique mechanism and trying really hard to position ourselves differently in terms of how we were providing our solution to the market. Just simply as a result of the amount of competition and the amount of other marketing agencies running ads, we were still getting a lot of comparison, despite me being one of the most established agencies in my niche in Australia with a ton of case studies and a ton of social proof. And so this is the next blind spot, is that even though it might make it to get cheap leads and cheap calls on the calendar, you're going to get a lot of comparison if you are in competitive niches. And that can make it really difficult to close clients on sales calls. And so this really boils down to one of the fundamental problems with running guarantees, is that if everyone's doing a crazy guarantee, then guarantees aren't crazy and they lose their effect in the market. Another thing that you need to understand is that guarantees are a symptom of low status in the marketplace. The reason that we even need guarantees in the first place is because people don't know you, they don't trust you, and they don't believe that you'll do what you say you're going to do. That's why it's so much easier to close clients that are referrals. You got a recommendation from someone that other person trusts and said that you're going to do a good job. You don't need to give them a crazy guarantee or a risk reversal to make them a client. You just need to jump on a sales call and show them how you're going to help them. The challenge is though, how can we scale that trust? I'll get to that in a second. Now, this is why I say that it's okay to use a guarantee in the early stages of testing a new service or when you're scaling a brand new agency. Because the reality is when we're starting out, we don't have any status or authority in the marketplace, and that's completely okay. And using a strong strong guarantee is a great way to offset that risk. However, if you do it for too long, you're going to experience all the challenges I mentioned previously. And so we want to use our guarantee-based offer to give ourselves the chance to stack some cash flow, validate our offer and our business, build the foundations of our agency, and then along the way, stack as many trophies as possible. Our trophies is our case studies, our wins, the best clients that we partner with, so that we can showcase that to the market. The best status that you can create in the marketplace that will win trust of your future clients is simply showing that you do what you're going to say you're going to do. The best definition of brand that I ever heard of is when experience exceeds expectation. So just imagine for a second you walk into a brand new cafe that you've never been to before. You order your usual coffee, and once you get it, they recognize that you're a new customer and give you a freshly baked chocolate chip cookie. You just got something that you completely weren't expecting, and they just deposited a few points into the brand piggy bank. Your experience exceeded your expectation of that interaction. Now compare that to the experience that most clients have with the average marketing agency. The average marketing agency sets expectations at a 10 out of 10 level, and it's the classic over-promising and under-delivering when we want to be doing the opposite. If every single client is coming into your marketing agency where they've been guaranteed these exceptional results, then by default, you're only going to be able to meet those expectations for a small percentage of your clients on average, which means, again, you're dramatically shooting yourself in the foot from creating a brand long term. This is why, if you work heavily to stack your trophies and create that social proof during the time that you're using a guarantee offer to get your agency off the ground, and then you flip your acquisition channel to promoting those results and promoting that proof and promoting those case studies, then going forward, all of the clients that are attracted to work with you are going to be coming in with a lot more accurate expectations, and they're going to trust you way more to begin with, which means across the board, on average, even clients that you don't get exceptional results with will stay with you longer because the expectations were more aligned when they started working with you, and you'll be able to capture a lot more social proof, even from people that you didn't get insane results for. So the solution to all of this is knowing when to switch from playing the offer and the guarantee game to chasing perceived status in the marketplace. And so other than stacking trophies and creating social proof, the other way that we can accelerate our status in the marketplace is by creating high quality marketing assets. And so this whole realization is what drove me to creating an entire stack of low ticket digital products and writing an entire book for my marketing agency. I wrote a full book called Automatic Listings, and I created a few mini courses and upsells to go off the back of it. And once I did this, it was honestly one of the biggest shifts and improvements in my marketing process that I've ever experienced in my marketing agency. Real estate professionals are probably one of the most difficult niches and business owners to sell to because they themselves are career salespeople. There's big egos involved and expectations are often all over the place. But after we started selling this book and having an ascension path to turn those book buyers into paying marketing agency clients, the sales process was night and day. There was no more comparison. There was no more competing over price. There was no more justification talking about why we were better than the next agency. Every single person that was jumping on a sales call genuinely viewed us as authority figures and experts. We could tell that they respected our company way more, and we were just having more genuine conversations about working together and how we can solve their problems, as opposed to there being a wall up and having to fight for the sale. And so I'm not saying you have to go out there and write a book and create a complex digital product structure with all these upsells and mini courses, but what you do want to do is start creating a marketing asset that you own. And this is something that I've been doing for a long time as well, whether it's Facebook groups, school communities, Discord communities, YouTube channels, Instagram pages, having kind of one core place where you're sending all of your traffic and having an audience that you own that you can consistently remarket to over time is one of the biggest points of leverage in our business model. Because if we're giving Mrs. Zuckerberg hundreds of dollars a day and tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, we want to make sure that we've got something to show for it at the end of the day instead of just a few more leads in the pipeline. And so if you're using the paid ads that you're already running and already collecting leads and calls through to also fund and fuel the growth of an organic marketing asset that you own, then that's going to contribute to you stacking more authority and status in your marketplace and decrease your customer acquisition costs over time because your influence in your niche will start compounding. So in summary, use guarantees to get your agency off the ground, switch to playing the status game once you've proven the offer is working and you've gotten some good case studies and client results, and make sure that you're not just burning through the market with paid ads and actually having something to show for it and growing an organic marketing asset on the back end. Make sure to like this video if you got some value and subscribe to the channel if you want more high value agency content like this. Peace.